K-Dog's Kennel coming at you with another episode of NFL Picks. Once again, joined by the one and only Hollysadventures
What's
down
up?
below. Well, I think on our end, I think we're top and bottom. I think when the video gets uploaded, we're side
We're
by side. Which I'm either way is fine. I just thought that was always weird, but we are back this week, ladies and gentlemen, for another week. Actually, Holly and I were just discussing right before we went live how last week was horrible. But we both went 8-6 in picks. I think we got two right in the early games, and we nailed the afternoon games. But hey, it's all good. With the 8-6 record, um, we are 38-24 for the season. The 8-6 also brings Holly's record to 25-21. And just a reminder, Holly's season to date is different. Is we've only been doing this. This is our, I believe, our third week doing this together. And we already talked about we're going to do this again next year. From week one. So our records will be a little bit closer next season. Looking at the schedule, we got 15 games on the docket. We got two teams on a bye week, which we'll talk about them at the end. We have a Thursday night matchup. Once could have been promising, but now not so much. The 1-4 Denver Broncos taking on the 4-1 Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos, I just feel, are a lost cause this year. They had that game against the Jets, won.
yeah.
Russell Wilson fumbles the ball. You can even see Sean Payton, the head coach of the Broncos, like screaming at him on the sideline, like what are you doing, kind of thing. The sad thing is, the Broncos brought Russell Wilson in to help make them better. I don't want to say he's almost making them worse, but they're the cellar dwellers of the AFC West. And I mean, Kansas City, they're at home, and I mean, they're guided by Patrick Mahomes. I mean, enough said on that. I got the Chiefs winning at home on
Uh,
Thursday.
I got you got to say, I agree with that 100%. I mean, it's going to be down to the point where I think by the end of this season, that if they are not doing any better, I have a feeling Sean Payton's just going to trade the entire team. I
You're
mean,
right.
it's just ridiculous. I mean, Russell Wilson used to be like one of the best quarterbacks back in the day, and now he's like,
Yeah, he took the Seahawks to a Super Bowl.
yeah,
Super Bowl 48, I believe.
something like that, 48, 49, something wrong there.
Yeah, they beat the Broncos, oddly enough, in that Super Bowl. They trounced them, and now it's like he goes to Denver, and it's like, oh, I can't play football now. What the freak?
Oh, I don't know how to.
Yeah, I can throw the ball more than 5 yards. Uh, bad time to be a Bronco fan. Um, Moving into Sunday, we have the 3-2 Baltimore Ravens taking on the 2-3 Tennessee Titans. This is it's tough. You got two teams that have been very inconsistent here, but I like the Ravens on the road. I think the Ravens should have beat Pittsburgh, but for whatever reason, their defense fell asleep that last drive. Kenny Pickett hit George Pickens for like a 40-plus yard touchdown to end the game. But it all goes back to Tennessee. Derrick Henry, not what he once was either. Ryan Tannehill, again, not sold on him as a elite quarterback. I just think overall, I think Baltimore has the better team, so I'm going with Baltimore on the road.
I gotta agree there. I mean, Baltimore just been on a steady uptick. Not saying that they're going to be Super Bowl contenders or even playoff contenders, but they are definitely on that uptick for performance wise, becoming better and better. What in the heck are you drinking? A gallon of water?
No, well, it's a gallon of flavored water. Yeah, every now and then I'll drink it, and I'm like, you're like, oh, you're drinking milk. No, I do drink milk, just not out of a gallon. But yeah, with being diabetic, I always have flavored water just on standby. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, let me sneak this in. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, my
As
camera encompasses quite a bit.
far as Tennessee goes with their defense, it seems like their defense is kind of like, or not Tennessee, Baltimore. They should have had that game won, like you said, but it seemed like their defense was like, what did we do, George?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like Baltimore always has trouble with Pittsburgh. I don't know why, but I mean, it's obviously it's a rivalry, but yeah, I don't know why Baltimore struggles so bad with. But not saying Tennessee's going to be an easy going, but I just think they're a better team. Come here, Kiris. Next up, we have the 2-3 Washington Commanders taking on the 3-2 Atlanta Falcons. Come on, You can come up here. There you go. Um, in the Commanders Falcons, I've got Atlanta winning at home. The Texans, I really thought was going to um, beat Atlanta, but Desmond Ritter, he's getting Drake London more involved. I think the Falcons really need to get Kyle Pitts more involved in their offense. I mean, they drafted him in the first round a couple years ago for a reason. Um, I just don't feel like Atlanta's really utilizing him. Washington, I mean, they got smoked by the Bears, and then really in a game they shouldn't have been smoked. I mean, if the Bears were going to win that game, fine, but the Bears had no business winning that game by 20 points.
No.
It just shows me the Commanders are just, especially on the defensive side of the ball, way too inconsistent. The Falcons, are hit or miss, but again, looking at the two teams, I got to go with the better team. Hi, Karis, and I'm gonna take Atlanta at home.
This was going to be a close one because both teams, like you said, are inconsistent. Um, so it just really going to come boil down to which team's going to show up. Um, the Commanders should have won that game. I mean, they're the better all team. Out of the two that were playing against the Bears, and it just seems like they shut down towards the end of it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they could have came back, but they didn't. So I think I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one.
Atlanta would. No, you cannot eat my pen.
Eat the pen,
Yeah,
Zeke.
Karis. Hey, say
Eat.
hi. Say hi, Karis. Oh,
Oh,
that's a good one.
Zeke. Oh no,
Sweet,
that's pink.
sweet. The magic of live. Anything happen? Now the animals are getting involved. Who's
Yes.
gonna win? Who's gonna win, Karis? Yeah, actually looking away like I don't care. Um, next up, the 1-4 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 1-4 Chicago Bears. I almost took Chicago in this one. The Vikings going to be without star wideout Justin Jefferson the next 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. That is cataclysmic for them. A downward spiral season that is now a huge loss on the offensive side of the ball. But at the end of the day, yeah, the Bears put 40 points on the Commanders last week. I think the Vikings have a better defense than Washington does, and does. Um, I almost took Chicago, but I think the Vikings somehow pull it off on the road. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Vikings in this one on the road.
Mm-hmm. Vikings actually came really close last week to beating Kansas City, and
Mm-hmm.
I was rooting for them 100%. But I mean, they just came short. I think with Chicago, I think it was a fluke that they won against the Commanders. So, as much as I want to say that fluke was not a fluke, it's a fluke for my standpoint. So I'm going to have to go with the Vikings.
Only good thing about the Bears winning is I have DJ Moore on one of my fantasy teams, and he got me 45 points. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. What, honey? I know. All right. Next up, I can't see, Karis. I love you, but I can't see. Next up, we have the three. Excuse me, the 3-1 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 2-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Um, this one's intriguing, but I've got to. I switched on this one a couple of times, but ultimately I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I think that as good as Seattle is, I think Joe Burrow looked really good last week. The Joe Burrow Jamar Chase connection was back last week, and the Bengals are at home. The Bengals are not a 2-3 team. I think they're a lot better than that. I think, but Joe Burrow playing on that injured calf has definitely played a factor in that. Um, but as well as Seattle has done, Geno Smith um, has done for Seattle. I'm gonna roll the dice on this one, and I'm gonna take the Bengals at home.
Uh, yeah, I think I got to agree with the Bengals. I mean, with Joe Burrow being back, I mean, great. Yes, he's still playing on an injured calf, but he's playing a good game. So it's the Bengals have. I think the Bengals are going to have it this game. Seattle, on the other hand, is a good team as well. So it's just going to be depending on how well Joe Burrow plays Sunday, but I think he's going to pull off just fine.
Yeah. Right. Can I have my spot back?
Nope.
Nope. Here, I don't care if you come here. Okay, there you go. I'm like, just go to the other side. There's two sides to my chair. All right.
Story.
Next up, we have the 5-0 San Francisco 49ers taking on the 2-2 Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns attempt to keep this game close, but the 49ers have looked like the best team in the NFL the last 3 weeks. They put I don't want to say a beat down on Dallas last week, but they throttled them 42-10. I know Deebo Samuel kind of made a comment this week. I don't know if somebody on Dallas made a comment about, oh, see you in the playoffs or something like that. And Deebo Samuel was like, Cowboys don't want none of us in the playoffs because it'll be worse. Don't know if their paths are going to cross. I think Dallas is going to get into the playoffs. The 49ers, obviously, I think are going to get into the playoffs. I think the Browns have a great defense, and I think the Browns will keep it close. But it's really hard to pick against San Francisco. All three phases of the game, they're about as complete a team as I have seen. The next several weeks for San Francisco, I know they got Philly coming up later this season. They play the Seahawks a couple times, obviously as division rivals. Those games are going to be interesting, but for Deshaun Watson will be coming back this week as well. Like I said, I think the Browns keep it close, but I like the 49ers as red hot as they are right now. I like the 49ers on the road.
I got to agree with you there. First off, hey, Big Baby Jay, welcome in.
Hey, big baby. I just literally saw him pop up.
But I have to agree. I mean, the 49ers are one well-oiled machine. I mean, I don't see any flaws as of right now. Granted, it's still early, but I don't see any flaws in whether it be the defensive side, offensive, or special team. All playing fantastically. The Browns are a good team. I think, like you said, they're going to give them a run for their money. Whether they'll pull it off for the win, probably not. So, 49ers it is.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who loses first between Philadelphia and San Fran. Next up, a little bit of a mismatch. The 0-5 Carolina Panthers, the only team that has not won a game in the NFL this season, taking on the 4-1 Miami Dolphins. I got the Dolphins winning this one big. I think Miami, minus the game against Buffalo, has looked really good. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I think it's still Buffalo's division. But the Panthers just Bryce Young's not playing. I mean, I understand he's a rookie. He's going to have ups and downs his first year, but it just seems like he's having a lot more downs than ups. Adam Thielen is trying to make that team relevant, but the Dolphins, I think, just have way too much firepower for Carolina's young defense to stand up to. Yeah, give me Miami at home in a big. I wouldn't say a blowout, but a big win.
Definitely agree with that. Carolina is just too much inconsistency. Like you said, they got a rookie quarterback. He's going to make rookie mistakes. Granted, you're never going to have a perfect quarterback. There is no such thing as a perfect quarterback, as most people would like to say. Oh, my quarterback is perfect. No, he's not perfect. No perfect quarterback. Unless if you got a cat like you have, then that's a perfect quarterback right there.
Yeah, it's funny. Usually she's not. I mean, she's always like wanting my attention, but yeah, for some odd reason, Daddy's doing a live now. You just got to be all up my butt, don't you? Yeah.
Yep, sure do.
Yeah.
But I mean, Miami is just fantastic. I think with their game that they had against Buffalo, I think that was just a fluke. So I think they're going to come back and, like you said, it's going to be a blowout game, but I at least see a good 40, 50 points on the board.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they put 70 on Denver a couple weeks ago, and I don't think they'll hang that many, but yeah, I can easily see 30, 40, maybe 50. Next up, we have an AFC South matchup: the 3-2 Indianapolis Colts taking on the 3-2 Jacksonville Jaguars. I tell you, Jacksonville's really hard to pinpoint. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. It's like they lose to teams they should beat, and they beat teams they shouldn't. Last week, a prime example of that, they beat Buffalo, and it shows that Jacksonville has the caliber to be in the mix with the Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities, the Cincinnatis, those kind of teams. And then when you see them get thrashed by the Texans like they did a couple weeks ago, you kind of question, okay, what are they doing down there? Playing against a team that has given them fits before with the Colts, but um, the way Jacksonville has played, yes, it's been up and down, but in this case, I'm taking the home team and I'm taking the Jaguars at home, coming off that big win in London. Honestly, Jacksonville, I don't think has lost in London. They might want to change from Jacksonville to the London Jaguars, and who knows, maybe they could pull off a 17-0 season. But the Colts, not sure if Anthony Richardson is going to play. He suffered a wicked little shoulder injury. Got sagged. Oh, looks like almost like his shoulder was dislocated. All the more reason that I don't even know who the backup is in Indianapolis, but especially if it's going to be the backup quarterback in Indy, all the more reason to take Jacksonville at home.
Yeah, I gotta agree. They play phenomenally in London. I don't know what it is about London that they play so well with, but London's just their lucky charm, I guess. So, but they
Home
have
away from home.
have been a great team this year. I mean, great. Yes, they've been up and down, some offs, some good stuff. So, but overall, I mean, they're probably the better team out of the two for this game.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're doing, Karis, but all right. Next up, we have the 3-2 New Orleans Saints taking on the 2-3 Houston Texans. In a game, I think could really go either way. And now, all right, there we go. Now she just jumped out. In a game, I think could go either way. CJ Stroud making hi. CJ Stroud continuing to make history, passing Dak Prescott for the most completions by a rookie without an interception. I mentioned this last week. I think Houston has found their guy in CJ Stroud. And I think that I'm going to roll with the Texans at home in this one. I'm not sure if Derek Carr is going to play. Suffered a shoulder injury a couple weeks ago. But the Saints, they blanked New England 34-0 last week, which was surprising. But despite all that, I like CJ Stroud. I like more what I see out of him every week. And with it being Houston at home, I am going to roll with the Texans at home over New Orleans.
All right, so this is going to be our first division. So say hi, Zeke. So with New Orleans, I mean, Houston's a good team. They've been doing fairly well, but I can't say that they're going to be the team that they need to be up against New Orleans. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I got to go with New Orleans on this one.
I like it. I mean, you got to have a little bit of difference on these. I know last week we were spot on with each other, and we were until that. But yeah, I mean, it can go either way. If the Saints win the game, it's not going to surprise me in the least. But we'll see what happens in Houston. Next up, the 1-4 New England Patriots taking on the 2-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Boy, the Patriots they are a mess with Mac Jones. I think if the Patriots lose this game, it might be time for New England to consider putting in Bailey Zappi and seeing what he's got to offer. The Raiders coming off of a win against Green Bay last week, intercepting Jordan Love in the final seconds to seal the win. It was disheartening because I thought Green Bay could have pulled it out, but it just kind of showed. We'll talk about Green Bay here in a minute. Green Bay is on a bye this week. Honestly, the way they played against Las Vegas, I'm actually taking the bye week by 3. But we'll get to the byes here in a bit. As far as the Raiders go, I like New England on the road. I can't see this losing streak continuing. But I think if the Raiders do win this game, I do think a quarterback change for New England is definitely on the horizon. But Bill Belichick is not used to being 1-4 by any means. Um, and I think if even if he pulls Mac Jones, if the Patriots have the lead and they squander it late or whatnot, I can see Mac Jones getting pulled to see if New England can come back. But like I said, this is not a 1-4 is not a Bill Belichick team. By coaching alone, I'm going to take New England on the road, which I do believe is going to be an upset, but they happen every week, so we'll see what happens.
Oh boy. This could go either way because neither team are playing very well. Like you said, this is not a typical Bill Belichick type of year. But if it keeps that the way it's going, like you said, they'll probably be pulling the quarterback. But they could also be looking for a new head coach if it keeps up the way it is, because Belichick's one of the best head coaches there is, alongside with Sean Payton. Um, so I mean, I'm going to go with New Orleans. I got you there. No, I'm going to go with New England, but I mean, either way, it could go either way. I mean, it just depends on if New England can pull it out of their rear and come back.
Yeah, I mean, I on paper the Patriots are a better team than 1-4, but I mean, the way Mac Jones has played, it's really put them in an early deficit. And yes, I mean we're only a quarter of the way through the season, but I mean, Patriots have got to start making something happen if they want to get into the playoff hunt come the end of the year. Next up, NFC West matchup: 1-4 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 2-3 LA Rams. Um, the Cardinals, I like a lot of people thought this was going to be a throwaway year for them. And I mean, yes, they're 1-4, but the Cardinals have at least stuck around in a lot of these games. They haven't been all blowouts and whatnot. Traveling to LA to face the Rams. The Rams just traded away Van Jefferson. It eludes me where he went. I saw it. I think he went to the Falcons. Um, but I still think the Rams have Cooper Cuff. They got Puka Nakua, a very formidable 1-2 punch. I think the Rams are the better team, and I'm going to roll with the LA Rams at home, taking down Arizona.
I got to agree. I mean, Arizona, yeah, they're putting up a fight. It's not a blowout game with them, but they're just not playing like they should. I mean, that fluke with Dallas that they had, what, back in week 2? Was it week 2 that they played them?
It was week 2 or 3.
Yeah, I
It
think
was early. It
it
was
was.
very early.
Yeah, I mean that was a fluke. I mean that Dallas should have won that, but I mean I think that was a fluke. So, but I gotta go with the Rams. I mean the Rams are a fairly good team this year compared to how they have been in the past. So we'll have to see.
Right. Next up, the 5-0 Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 2-3 New York Jets. I think what could have been a marquee matchup: Jalen Hurts against Aaron Rodgers, obviously marred by Aaron's Achilles injury in the season opener. Um, Jets are at home, but I think that Eagles have a really good defense, and I think they're going to eat Zach Wilson alive. Again, not going to really call it a blowout, but the Jets, if any other quarterback on the planet other than Zach Wilson, I'd say maybe they'd be in the fight, but I just think Philadelphia is just gonna put a hurting on this Jets team. Give me the Eagles on the road.
Totally agree. I mean, the Jets are probably going to give them a run for their money. Don't think they'll come out on top. Don't think they'll win, but they should definitely hold them for the most part. Overall, I mean, the Eagles are um, same with the 49ers, are a very well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I think the NFC is going to run through Philadelphia or San Francisco, not just because they're undefeated, but just because they are the two best teams in the NFC heading into Week 6. Next up, very intriguing game: the 4-1 Detroit Lions taking on the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions, I know one of their cornerbacks, something Lewis. I remember that. I know that. Last season, he tore his left ACL and was done for the year. This season, he has torn his right ACL and is now done for the year. Or I might have that backwards, but I do know in the last 2 years he's torn both of his ACLs, and that's a horrible way to end your season. But against the Lions Bucks, again we talked Baker Mayfield has had a career resurgence down there in Tampa Bay. But I think the Lions have a very hungry defense. I think the Lions have proven that the last couple of weeks against Green Bay. Um, who did Detroit play last week? They played.
Make me think.
I know. I'm looking at the last week's picks because I'm like, I know they.
Who
Oh, they
would it?
played the Panthers. Now,
Right.
granted, it's not saying a whole lot because the Panthers are horrible, but I think the Lions have a really really good defense. Aiden Hutchinson spearheads that defense, and I think it's going to be a great game. I really do. And as good as Tampa Bay has been, surprisingly under Baker Mayfield, I like the Lions to win this game on the road in a very surprisingly close matchup. But I do like the Lions on the road.
Uh, yeah, I have to agree. I didn't really get a chance to watch the games for either team last week, but I mean overall, the Lions have been like you said hangry. Oh my! You tell the third shift is getting to me.
Like right.
My coffee has not kicked in yet. That's the problem. But no, they're a very hungry team. They're coming up from what was it a decent season last year to a very looking good this year. So I got to go with the Lions.
Yeah, it's, what really sparked me with Detroit last season, in a game that they had nothing to prove. The Vikings had won, which mathematically eliminated Detroit, and they talked to Coach Campbell, Dan Campbell, and in that game against Green Bay to close out the season, and Dan Campbell's like, "What are you talking about? We have something to play for. If we beat Green Bay doesn't get in." And I mean, I just think, yeah, you're win or lose, you're not getting in. But the fact you're going to play your guys, you're going to play your starters, like it's a game that matters because it does because it keeps a division rival out of the playoffs. I think Dan Campbell's done a phenomenal job in Detroit. His first year he was a little rough, but the last couple years he's really instilled a lot of energy and a lot of really good playmaking on both sides of the ball. Jared Goff, who I've never really been sold on, really looks like he's playing at an MVP level this year. And I think a lot of that predicates on Dan Campbell, the job he's done in Detroit. Like I said, I think it's going to be a great game, but I definitely have the Lions tabbed as winning the division for the first time since 1993, which has been a long time for those Lions. Sunday night, we have the 1-4 New York Giants taking on the 3-2 Buffalo Bills. Um, the Giants more and more are showing that last year was a fluke. They were a playoff team last year. They actually beat Minnesota last year in the wild card. But the Giants the last 2 weeks have not scored an offensive touchdown. And it's tough to win in this league, not able to do that, especially when you're playing a powerhouse team like the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, among others. Um, this is a game I think could be a blowout as well, or at least a high scoring game, at least for the Bills, not so much the Giants. Daniel Jones with a neck injury, not sure what his status is going to be. But Daniel Jones, no Daniel Jones. I like the Bills at home.
Yeah, I got to agree. The Bills are just probably the better team to than my mind just went blank on who they're playing. Oh boy. Okay, refresh my memory.
Man.
They're
Oh,
playing.
who they're playing this week?
Yeah.
They're playing the Giants, New York Giants.
Can you? Oh boy.
Yeah. Call
uh,
me hesitant. I get it.
uh, Giants haven't really played a really good game all season. I mean, even last year was a iffy for them. I mean, they played a good game last year, but this year it just seems like it's gotten worse. I don't know what it is. If it's coaching staff, if it's the players. I know they they did lose. I think that they lost a player. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
The Giants, I think they did. I know. Yeah, I know the Giants are kind of banged up on both sides of the ball, but even with injuries, if any NFL team, it's next man up. The next person got to step it up. But
I got to go with the Bills because I mean they have a really good both offensive and defensive. Needs to tighten it up just a little bit, but overall, I mean they're a good team.
yeah, Josh Allen is their guy, and with good reason. Monday night matchup, we have the 3-2 Dallas Cowboys taking on the 2-2 LA Chargers. Chargers coming off of a bye week last week. Dallas coming off of a lopsided loss to the 49ers. I think it's a game that can go either way, but I'm going to take Dallas in this game. I think Dallas needs this win. I think they need to prove not only to the league, but to themselves that, yes, they've been beat by the Cardinals, they've been beat by the 49ers. I think a lot of people had tabbed the 49ers to win last week, but I think Dak Prescott needs to show the NFL, hey, look, you can write me off all you want, but I'm still here. I can still play at an elite level. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think both teams have very prolific offenses. And both defenses do give up points. Dallas first, couple weeks were lights out. Trayvon Diggs had that unfortunate injury, took him out for the season. I don't want to say it humanized Dallas a little bit, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Cowboys are without Leighton Vander Esch. He is out for the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure if it's a knee. It's either a knee or a neck. I looked at the injury report last night when I was at work. A lot of teams have some players banged up with knee injuries, neck injuries, that sort of thing. But I think, as I said, I think Dallas needs the win, just at least to legitimize themselves. I don't think that. I think a lot of people are looking at the Cowboys as a stepping stone for the likes of Philadelphia, San Francisco. Obviously, the Cowboys and Eagles are going to be playing. I don't think they've played this year yet. They will play obviously a couple times, being division rivals. Um, and I think it's going to be imperative for Dallas to kind of showcase, hey, we can keep up with Philadelphia. So I'm going to take Dallas on the road.
I got to agree. Dallas. Okay, let me revert. The Chargers are a good team. Not giving them. They have shown quite a bit of inconsistencies this year. Dallas, on the other hand, has a team worth playoff material.
Absolutely.
However, the defense needs both defense and offense needs to step it up. Everybody's writing off, especially this past game against the 49ers, saying it was Dak's fault. You can't, and I get it. They want to blame somebody. You got to blame somebody. Dak's just one person. He's only plays. He's not the one that calls the plays. Mike McCarthy's been calling the plays. So he's the one making these calls. He's just running them. So it's not just his fault. It's the entire team's fault. And if you got to take a loss, you're going to take a loss as a team, not as one person.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, Dak threw 3 interceptions in that 49ers game. Yes, that attributed to it, but also Dak doesn't play defense. Dak does not, play on that side of the field. So yes, did his turnovers, cost that team? Yes, absolutely. But the defense also couldn't stop anything. So yeah, you can point fingers all you want, but as you said, it's a coaching, when a team can't make stops and stuff. Yes, it's defensive. It's the defense, but it's also the head coach. It's also the defensive coordinator. It's also the offensive coordinator. There's so many variables. It's not just. It's easy to blame the quarterback as he's the one throwing the ball, but there's a lot more variables when a team gets beat like that.
Oh yeah. Are wanting Dak to play as Dak did when he first came in his rookie year, where he was just throwing it down the field. But you can't if you're having to get back to fundamentals. You can't just chunk the ball nonchalantly because you don't have people like Cole Beasley, Amari Cooper, Jason Witten that are playing anymore with Dallas. I mean, those were the 3 go-to guys when he was chunking the ball. They're gone.
Yeah.
So now he's having to basically regroup, refund, get his fundamental back in order, and figure out his plays. And especially with Mike McCarthy calling the plays, they really got to tighten it up.
Right. And then next, no, that's it because we have two teams on a bye. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are currently leading the AFC North after their win against Baltimore. Think they're in pretty good shape. I think they're going to be kind of in the mix. I can see Pittsburgh being a wild card team. And then we have, of course, the Green Bay Packers on a bye week, losing to the Raiders. I watched the end of that game, and it was just horrendous to see Jordan Love throw that horrible pass at the end of the game. Christian Watson was wide open, but he threw it late. Raiders intercepted it. I think the Packers are a bad team. I'm a fan. I'll always be a fan. But with the Packers, I got to call a spade a spade. They're a bad team right now. So hopefully they can use this bye week to get back on track. I haven't seen who they play next, but it's not going to get any easier for Green Bay. But recapping. We both have the Chiefs over the Broncos, the Ravens over the Titans, the Falcons over the Commanders, the Vikings over the Bears, Bengals over the Seahawks, 49ers over the Browns, Dolphins over the Panthers, Jacksonville over Indianapolis. We differ on the Colts Texans. I've got the Texans. Holly has the Saints. We both have the Patriots. We both have the Rams. We have the Raiders or Patriots over the Raiders, Rams over the Cardinals. There we go. Eagles over the Jets. There was two that we differ on. Maybe we just have the one. We have the Buccaneers or the Lions over the Buccaneers. Excuse me. Bills over the Giants and the Cowboys over the Chargers. There we go, gang. Week 6 in the books. We will see how it plays out. I will be out of town Sunday. We'll be back home on Monday, so we will be back up next Wednesday. And Wednesday is looking, Holly, like normal afternoon. Because I think I opened that, but just last couple weeks I've had to close because our normal lead that closes asked for last couple Wednesdays off, which is fine. But so I made a community post about content up until I am gone. I'm also going to be here in Illinois. We have what is called the Spoon River Drive, which is a big fabrics and crafts type show that they do. A couple of my coworkers, they have a booth, which I need to actually get with one of them today because we're going to go out and see them on Saturday, support them. I would like to showcase some of their stuff, but I want to get permission from them if I can film them while they're there, just out of respect and whatnot. We got more LA Noir. I am off tomorrow. Going to get a chunk of that knocked out. Going to get 2 or 3 parts knocked out of that tomorrow. And then, so you guys have plenty of content to watch while I'm gone for a couple of days. But yeah, not too bad. You got a couple hours to kill. Going to spend with the wife before I go to work. And then yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, a huge thank you to Hollysadventures. We really enjoy doing this collab thing that we're doing every week. I think it's a lot of fun. Big thank you to Big Baby Jay, who popped in the chat earlier on. Big Baby, we love you to death, brother. We love you, we love you, we love you. Both of our biggest supporters, and just cannot say enough good things about that man. Make sure you check out Big Baby. I'll have to tag him in this video as well. But Big Baby, we love you to death, and thank you for all you do, not only on your channel but for the support that you give Holly and I. We appreciate that very much. Make sure you guys subscribe to both Holly and myself. Give this video a thumbs up. It definitely helps both of our channels grow. Also want to thank my sponsor, Poggers. You can find their website at www.drinkpoggers.com/kennel. Using my code word will net you 10% savings off everything on their website. Do check them out. And as always, Holly, thank you once again. And we will catch you guys in our next respective videos. And we'll be back next Wednesday for week 7 picks in the NFL. So everybody take care. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.
Because you guys are part of this community.
Amen. Take care, guys.
Care.